With today's topic, it is about job descriptions, how to go about doing a good job ad that's going to attract the right people. I guess we'll get straight into it. With job descriptions, some people love creating them, some people don't. It really just depends on your personality. But with firms who aren't great at creating job descriptions, I find that they tend to put too much information into the job description. So sometimes it's like 2 or 3 pages. Now, if you think of it from a candidate's point of view, that's not what a candidate wants to see, because I hate to break it to people, they're not just applying for your job, they're applying for lots of jobs. So they will be going through so many different job ads. So obviously it's your job to make sure that your ad is standing out. So I also have firm owners who sort of say, the more the merrier, we want all the applicants, but what you don't want is 200 plus applicants coming through, because who has time to be filtering through every single job, like every single resume and candidate and everything. You'd rather have maybe 10 or 20 applicants that come through with the right experience than having all these different people come through. And I mean, we all want to find that unicorn when we're hiring, but they're very, very rare, hence the name. But, if you're looking for, let's say, senior client manager, yes, you want them to have 8+ years of experience. But if you're looking for an intermediate or a senior, and you want them to have like 10+ years of experience, that's not possible, especially if you're looking for someone offshore. Sorry, I shouldn't say it's not possible. It is possible, but it's very rare. You need to have more of a realistic approach and mindset. So for a senior, I'd be saying 5+ years of experience. Intermediate, 2 to 3+ years of experience, or even 4. Yeah, you need to be realistic with what you're actually posting. And then also software. So I have some clients who say to me that candidates need to have specific software experience, which is great. That's all good. But when you're picking software experience over skills experience, which I have had clients do, that's not good, because the software can be trained, especially if you do find someone who is a fast learner. You'd rather them have the technical skills than have the software skills. And Christy, I am going to pick on you again, because I know that you went through this experience, didn't you, with a candidate who didn't have experience with a specific software, but then turns out they were a really fast learner?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing of, remembering the core things that we're looking for when recruiting. It's not about the software specific, and you'll hear a lot at Wize about creating extraordinary systems for ordinary people. If your internal training systems are good enough, then the person will be able to adapt to any software.
Some firms, or some people will say that leadership can be taught, and then others will say, no, it's something that you have inside you. Now, I got to be honest, I'm the kind of person who thinks it can be taught, because Jamie actually taught me how to do that. Before Wize, I was not great at it, and we've got Chris here, so she can either say yes or no to this. She might turn around and say, actually, Danny, you're not that great. But yeah, leadership is something that I think you can be. If you've got the right manager, you can be taught how to do that. Yeah, Christy, did you have any comments on that? Because you might have a different opinion on that.
Absolutely. The leader I am today is absolutely not the leader I was when I first started my business. And I'd had great employees in the past and great people I admired, but I didn't know how they did it. I had no idea what leadership actually looked like. And, I see such a key difference between managing and leading. And there's a beautiful part in Dr. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, where he talks about the difference between a manager and a leader. The manager just goes into the forest with their team and starts cutting down trees. But the leader actually goes up the top of the ladder and looks out for the best path and then directs the team to get the most out of it. And that was a big mindset shift for me, to recognize that elevation of leadership, not just being the boss, being in charge, actually leading my people from in front, and then being able to lead from behind, and teaching leadership skills in my own team members. So it definitely starts with the firm owner and then trickles down into the team, but it's possible. And not to promo our leadership summits too much, but they're fabulous, because that's what we're really there to teach team members and firm owners about leadership, because it is a big gap in what we learn. We're not taught it at school, we're not taught it at uni, we're not really taught it by our bosses when we first start in practice. So it's definitely something we can learn and pass on to our team members.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thanks, Christy. Something that what you do actually want to promote is what they'll actually be doing. And it starts with the actual title of the job ad. So if your job title isn't clear, that, if it says, I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, actually, my favorite one is senior client manager. Now, I hate to break it to everyone, but senior client manager isn't exclusive to accounting and bookkeeping. Every industry has senior client managers, so you need to be more specific. So what I tend to do is I'll put like senior accountant / client manager. And this was, I'm not gonna lie, this was actually from ChatGPT. I put in everything that I wanted and I asked it to create something, and this is what it came up with. So this here is what I would classify as a good job description. So you basically, you're putting what the actual title is, what you want them to, what you're looking for. And then with the about the firm, you don't want to be too generic. Yes, there's going to be a little bit of, we're a great firm and all that. But if you've got specific things, so like, let's say your firm's won an award for something, I'd be putting that in there. I know that Jamie, for example, I think he won an award for like the top 57th firm in Australia or the world or something. So when we're doing job ads for him, we put that in there, that it's like he's got an award-winning firm. It says here competitive salary. I personally like to put the actual salary range in there, only because, again, you want to be transparent. The last thing you want is to have a great interview with someone, fall in love with them, and be like, yes, this is the right candidate, and then find out that their salary expectation is way higher than what you had in mind. So if you are very transparent from the start and you say, this is the salary range, then they'll say, okay, I'm going to apply or I'm not going to apply. There's no, that basically both of you will be on the same page. And then the next thing is what they'll actually be doing. And again, you want to be quite specific with this sort of stuff. You don't want to just write, I'm trying to think of an example right now. And then that sort of leads me into the importance of job ad videos and why they're important to do. So with the advert videos, they are important because this is how you you sell the role, you sell your firm, you get people to go, oh, you know what? I like the sound of this position. I like what's going on with this firm, so I'm going to apply. And Christy, was there a difference between before you started doing the advert videos and after you started doing them in terms of the people that applied, the amount of people that applied?
Yeah, both, definitely. I think there were definitely less people applying and the quality and caliber of candidate was not as good. And then a lot of strong candidates reference the video when we asked them in the interview guide what prompted you to apply for this position, and they would speak about how they felt a sense of connection through the video and really liked it.
And another thing that we've also been promoting lately is employee or contractor testimonies as well. So it's something that we've started doing at Wize, and Selena, you would know because you've been part of it as well. But it's basically hearing your staff's point of view, why it's good to work for the firm. And if you need help, like, oh well, actually I say this, but this is more for like Wize Talent specific clients. We can help you with the editing part of that. So if you that's another perk of joining Wize Talent, because we can help with the video editing. But that is something to consider as well, having your staff do a testimony, basically, because that way the candidates aren't just seeing your point of view. So the first one is like the hook, which is basically who the role is perfect for. The next thing is what the candidate will actually be doing. So actually putting specific tasks, like the real tasks of what they'll be doing. But at the same time, there's balance. You don't want to go into way too much detail, like every little nitty-gritty thing, because that becomes too overwhelming, especially if you're putting down that they need to do specific tasks in Zero or whatever it is. Just putting like the real tasks, but just not too detailed. Number 3 is what makes this role interesting. So, the aspect of things, learning, exposure to different things. Yeah, when you're selling your firm, you don't want to just sell the top end stuff about what you guys are doing, but also how this is going to benefit the candidates as well. And number four is, yeah, who this role is actually suited to. So and that's where like the skills and the mindset, that sort of stuff comes into it, making sure you put those things down. Number five is about the company. That's really important. I have seen job ads where there's no information at all because they want to stay anonymous. We don't really promote that because the candidate, if they don't know who they're going to be working for, they're most likely not going to apply. So make sure you do put, a link to your website. And if you don't have a great website, please get that sorted because candidates will jump into that and they will judge. So yeah, you just want to make sure that you do have a really good website as well. And then the last thing is what you're actually offering, because at the end of the day, candidates do want to know what they're going to be getting. But also something to keep in mind, and this is really specific or really important with the interview process. It is important to ask them why they applied for the position. But if the first answer they give you is, I had a look at what you're offering and I loved, the salary or the bonus structure or whatever, that's a red flag because you don't want them to just be joining your firm just for the benefits, because it means that when another firm comes along who's offering an even better package, they're going to be going off with them. You want to make sure that they are saying things that, I checked the job description and I really liked what you've written with, the tasks or something, because I'm doing that currently, and or they might want to learn more about that, whatever it is. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. We'll see you all at next week's session. I hope everyone has a great day or evening, depending where you are in the world.